Hey everybody, I'm Jeffrey, and this is Doug. And kind of want to go through just a little introduction of Doug. I've been working with him for about 2 months, and he's really embraced this program. Probably one of the best that I've seen in a long time. Just completely 1,000% in, and he's showing results for it. So, Doug, you want to introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us a little bit about your background, and we'll kick it off from there.
You bet. Thanks for having me on, Jeffrey. My name's Doug Tolley. I'm 53 years old. I'm an executive in a research company here in Utah, and truthfully, I haven't really been in terrific physical condition now for probably 20 years, something like that. I still lead a pretty active lifestyle. I like to hike and do things outdoors and ski and a lot of other things, but decided it was time to really get serious about being in better physical condition for health benefits and for lifestyle benefits, and also to put things in place before I get too old, and it makes it more difficult to do. And so I found the program, like you said, about the 1st of December, and I've been doing it now for just short of 2 months. As of today, down about down 15 pounds, about 10 total inches off of the various measurements, and super excited about the progress so far. 2 to 3 pounds a week, pretty much every week since we started. So
that's fantastic, because your normal average weight loss of anybody in any program is really about 1 to 2 pounds. And to be exceeding that, where it sounds like a small number still, 3 pounds, that is significant progress every single week. And that just shows your dedication and consistency to following the program the way it's been designed and committing to it 100%. So as you looked for programs to get involved, as you said, you recognize that you needed to make some changes health-wise. What prompted you to say the tribe is the program for me?
It's a great question. And I was telling somebody this just a little while ago. I had started Googling, I need a personal trainer, and there's services out there. They'll do it remotely. I was thinking about maybe going down to my local Vasa or Orange Theory and hiring somebody. I got a neighbor. She's actually a fitness trainer and a fitness model. I mean, she's been in spectacular shape for years. So I just decided I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to do it right now. I went through a journey over the last year or so, and I really got my financial fitness in order. And I thought, okay, I got my finances together. Now let's talk about getting me together. I had just Googled, I need a fitness trainer. And then on LinkedIn, it's so funny. A message from Tyson popped up, and he said, this is who we are and this is what we're doing. Just watch the video. And so I watched it on like a Wednesday, and I think I started on a Friday or something. Anyway, I watched the video. What Tyson was talking about really resonated for me. And it's funny because I said, hey, I know all the stuff you're doing. Like, you want me to track? I get that. Intermittent fasting, I've never done it, but I'm a believer. I know it works. I'm assuming this is low carb, high protein. He's like, you're kind of outlining the whole program. And he said, but the difference is we're going to help hold you accountable. We're going to coach you through it. And I said, I'm in. And it just was the right program at the right time. And not a whole bunch of BS, not a whole bunch of supplements and other things, no specific workout program, really no specific, to the letter eating program. Just follow these basic principles and make it work. And that really resonated for me. So that's why I jumped in.
That's great. And we've tried to make it simple. Tyson's really worked very hard at making the program simple, because we do know that as busy dads and busy business professionals, there are so many things that pull us in different directions, and fitness and nutrition tend to always fall by the wayside.
Yep.
And if we make it complicated and time intensive, people just won't stick with it. And that's not just with fitness, but just about anything. And so one of the key principles was keeping this very simple, and it was time tested by Tyson himself. So the principles work, and there's proof that in the pudding that it does work.
Yeah.
You talked about how long you've been doing the program. We've talked about your results. Support and accountability that you feel you've gotten from the tribe. How is that different than your experiences in the past trying things?
So I I love working with tracking everything in the app, both your water intake, the calories, the food, the exercise. I I fell in love with the barcode feature in the app, just to make it as simple as heck. You just take a barcode and everything seems like it's in there. I found a couple things that weren't in there. I added them myself, no big deal, but love the barcode. But that's part of the simplicity. And then the accountability is, and I said this before, I'm paying you guys, so why would I hide anything? I'll just put it all in. And that sort of shift, I think everybody who's tried a diet has a cheat here and there, and they kind of hide it from themselves. They hide it from their spouse. They hide it from their trainer, whatever that might be. I say just go all in, put it in there. And that accountability to you, to the app, to the tribe, and most importantly to myself, of just saying, I'm going to put it all in and just let the chips fall where they may. That's been a big mindset shift. So I love that accountability. At first I was like, well, what the heck am I going to eat? I go in and the website's got some good meals to start with. My wife starts buying that protein pasta, which we didn't even know existed. And here we're loving that. And the whole family's eating it. Some of the recipes from Tyson and his wife, there's enough to get started. And then and we talked about this, then you got to make it your own. And at that point where you feel like you've made it your own, then you've really got a chance to knock it out of the park. But there's plenty to get you started because most of us don't know where to start. And right. So I really love that part. So the accountability, the simplicity, and then the ability to customize it a little bit for what I needed. It's been great. It's been fantastic. So,
and I think there's some level of personal guy satisfaction in creating, like that perfect protein shake.
Right.
You're like, I did it, and I'm going to tell everybody about it. So you wait for those opportunities for someone to say, hey, what about this? And I got it. Here's the Doug protein shake, and it works, and it's delicious. That kind of stuff is so fun to me. And it's very exciting for guys like Tyson and I as coaches to hear people experimenting that way, and to say that you spent time figuring this out on your own. It wasn't a text, it wasn't a phone call, it wasn't a Marco Polo question. You went and thought, I'm gonna critical think a protein shake, and I'm gonna solve this problem.
Well, it's funny you'd mention that because it's kind of a guy thing to figure out how to DIY something. I like to fix my own cars if I can. I like to build my own fence and do my own home repairs. The difference is, in the past, I would have said, I'm hungry. What do we got? Oh, well, I'll grab that. Now it's like, hey, is there any way, like we talked about before, is there any way to get 100 grams of protein in less than 300 calories in a shake that I can make in 10 minutes or less? Like these are tough parameters.
Right.
And then when you kind of crack the code on that, or you get close, yeah, that's really gratifying. That's super exciting. And so the long and the short of it is cracking the code on some of this, or figuring out how to have less sodium, or one of our tribe members on the spreadsheet the other day, Bobby, said the way he gets his water is he tries to get 32 ounces before he leaves the house.
Yep.
I looked at that the other day and I thought, geez, so if I'm out at 7:30, 7:45, 8:15, whatever it is, could I get like a third of what or a quarter of what I want before I even crack the front door? And that was a cool suggestion. Well, he didn't challenge me to try that.
Right.
But I'm trying it.
Right.
And so that aspect of the tribe, I think, is amazing. And it turns out you can get 32 ounces in the first 2 hours of the day pretty easily if you just go ahead and figure out how to do it. So
yeah.
I do like that part of it.
It's easier than you think, and harder sometimes, depending. But it's not. I mean, it's all about discipline and applying yourself.
Yep.
After 8 weeks, lessons you've learned regarding short-term diet versus long-term lifestyle. How do you look at that? As this is a lifestyle change we're trying to make, not just help you lose weight in 90 days.
Right. Yeah. So the truth is, 8 weeks in, I feel better, and I don't want to go back to what it was before. And a couple of days ago, the family, Friday night or something, we go out to a restaurant that our family really likes, and I get my old usual. And as we're leaving, I'm like, I'm miserable. Like, why did I do that? And Tyson talks about this, where you fall off the wagon or have a cheat meal or do something, and part of that is to teach you that you don't like the way it used to be, even though you thought you did.
Right.
And so I think that's a big lifestyle shift. We talked about it as well, Jeffrey, you and I, about portion size and what does a real portion look like? What does a real serving of something look like? And I started out weighing a lot of things the first couple of months to get it in my head. What is a serving of cheese? What is a serving of pizza? Like, what does a serving really look like? And that's, I think, a lifestyle change that'll last for a long time. And I think the other ones are also, and this is a subject I'm pretty passionate about. So you don't, it's Tuesday, you've had a rough day, you sit down and eat way too much of the wrong stuff. And then get up tomorrow morning and just do it right.
Yeah.
And not let that be one bad meal on top of another bad meal on top of a no exercise, and let that sort of spiral. And I look back, and I basically did that for 20 years. Mm-hmm. And so now it's like the tracker, and this is fascinating. I'll track the rest of my life, even if I'm not with you guys. And the reason I'll track the rest of my life is because I'm okay with blowing it and accounting for it. And then the next day it starts fresh and you get a chance to do it right again. And so I love that sort of tracking, not because I'm trying to show you what I'm doing or my wife what I'm doing, to show me what I'm doing and to keep myself like sort of personally accountable.
Right.
And sure, screw up and then come back and do it better the next time. So, portion size, feeling better all the time. Like, I just feel better all the time. And then put that little measure, and it's not hard with the barcode, just put that little measure of accountability in your life. And it's those small habits, and they lead to massive changes. So
one of the beauties of the tracker that, and I try to let everybody know this from the beginning, and you'll hear me talk about it, is that if you're putting it in regularly after each meal, or pretty close to it, it gives you the opportunity to pivot your rest of your day.
Right.
Like the hot dog you talked about in another conversation, you don't realize what's in it. You put it in the tracker, you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot have any more sodium today, because right. I'm going to blow by. And it gives you that chance to really, dial in your days that way and understand where you're at and how each type of food we choose impacts our body and our life. And you think if you went a whole day, each meal was like that, not a hot dog every meal, but food like that, how would you feel at the end of the day?
Right.
You know how you'll feel. And, and that's what this whole program is trying to teach everybody is to, now I lost my questions here.
Well, and I think what you just said is so critical. If you wait till the end of the day to track, you just said it, and you told me this on a Marco Polo a while ago. If you wait till the end of the day to track, you can't make the pivot.
No.
If you track as you go, you have a chance. You can say, I'm way over for carbs today. No carbs at dinner.
Yeah.
Or like I often do. I mean, my lunch, you mentioned this before, how kind of plain and everyday same you are for lunch. Yeah, I've done probably 2 weeks now, exact same lunch every day.
Yeah.
I get to dinner, I haven't had any carbs all day. So then I can kind of have a little more freedom to do what I want to do. But because I know and because I'm tracking it, then I have the ability to do that. If you don't track it, then you're just kind of finger in the wind. You're just hoping for the best. And by the way, that's not going to work long term.
It won't. And it gives you the freedom to feel guilt-free about going out with your family or having a Sunday evening meal with your family. When I'm by myself, it's much easier to say, I'm just going to have tuna, and steamed broccoli.
Yep.
For that meal. And I don't care because I'm alone.
Yep.
And it gives you that freedom to say, I've saved this stuff up And as the lifestyle progresses, it's not about now I've saved it up. That's just how it is every day.
Right.
Where it becomes, that's the norm.
Yeah. A
every
can
day.
of tuna, 2 boiled eggs, and some Greek yogurt is my usual lunch.
Yeah.
And I'll do that every day. And I've done it for the last 2 weeks, and I am good with it. But like you said, then I have all kinds of freedom at dinner time with the family because
Yeah.
it's funny. So the lifestyle lesson is probably this: discipline up front gives you freedom later.
Yeah.
But without the discipline up front, you either blow it or you don't have the freedom later. And, hey, that's the lesson I've been trying to teach my kids for decades, right?
Sure.
Is
Yeah.
have some discipline in the front end of anything.
Yep.
And then you get all kinds of freedom later, whether it's finances or buckling down and doing your homework. And then you can get a better job. And look, I've been telling my kids this for decades, and I'm probably decent father. I never applied that to me and my eating.
Right.
I never turned that inward and said, yeah, I'm going to do this too in this so critical part of my life, which is how I take care of my body. So I think it's powerful. I think it's life-changing.
Tyson and I have a term for that. And it's called high performing, low energy individuals. We're successful in every single area of our life, but health and nutrition.
Yeah.
We ignore that part of it. And then when it comes to buckling down, it's like, I'm too tired. I'm too busy. I don't feel good. My knees hurt, and we don't equate the fact that you're too tired. You don't feel good and your knees hurt because you're unhealthy.
Yeah.
You've ignored all that. That wouldn't happen if we were paying attention to those areas of our lives. And, your enthusiasm to embrace this wholeheartedly is very refreshing. And I think it's contagious for the group too, because there are, people out there that are, if something happens, that's the excuse. Now I'm just too busy to do this, and you're proving that it doesn't matter. You're too busy. You're still figuring out your hacks. So it takes the excuses away.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I've met some of the tribe members. Look, everybody is successful. A lot of type A personalities.
Yes.
You go down the jobs, the positions at people's workplaces, VPs, CFOs, CEOs, partners, managing directors, general managers. For a lot of us, we have all probably been really successful in almost everything we've ever tried.
Right.
And yet we look around and this is one of the areas that have been a total failure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is mind-blowing, unacceptable, and can totally be fixed.
Yeah. Because you look at everybody in the group as a leader of some kind, and people are looking to them, for that guidance, mentorship, business leadership. And we let ourselves get into a physical state that makes us look sometimes not very credible, when we're talking about stuff.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, Jeffrey. A few years ago, I had a business I'd started, and I went out to raise some capital. And in most of these contests and people I met with, I had the best business plan. I had the best track record. I'm telling you right now, one of the reasons we didn't get as much funding as we needed to or should have is because I didn't look right.
Right.
And that may not be fair, but guess what? That's just straight up life. And the truth of the matter is, if I'd have walked in there fit and lean and my clothes fit right and everything looked right, I'm telling you, I would have got those businesses funded about 100 times easier. And look, I don't care whether it's fair or not. I had the best plan, but I didn't have the best look.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of times we eventually got the money we needed. It was way too hard. And it wasn't as much as we probably could have got. It does make a difference. And I think people on the other side of that table who are going to write a big check, I think they say, if he's so disciplined in his life, why does he look like that?
Right.
And whether it's conscious or unconscious bias there, it does make a difference. That's never going to happen again.
Right.
The next time I walk into that room, there's not going to be any of those doubts that might linger. It's just not going to happen.
Well, you take it right off the table. By fixing your health and nutrition, you take that component off the table. And I think there's a real thing to that. And I think guys don't talk about that enough. And we have as many self-conscious body issues as women do. particularly as we get into middle age and older. We want our clothes to fit. We want our, we want to look good. We want to look healthy for our spouses, and we perform high in other areas. And I just think that's an important component to the tribe, not just losing the weight, but this lifestyle component that allows us to be sustainable going forward and create that persona of who we really think we are inside, and that exudes to all the other areas of our life.
Well, so. and why have I allowed this to be the one thing that's completely out of control? Because I don't let anything else be out of control.
Right.
Whether it's my kids, my dog, my job, my auto maintenance, my yard, my flower bushes, my daily reading habits. Like, I literally have control of almost everything else. And this one I have completely abandoned to what the heck, anything can happen.
Well,
that's just crazy.
It is. And I think one of the reasons is our loved ones don't hold us accountable the same way to certain things because they love us. Yeah. And you're the dad, you're the grandfather, you're the husband.
That's right.
Nobody wants to go to you and say, Dad, you got to lose weight, man.
Right.
It's going to kill you. We love you. We need you around, but you're kind of sloppy looking and you need to get fit. Your family doesn't tell you that. No. Your wife might in a moment of, complaining and argument, Maybe. But it's not true accountability.
No. My coworkers lie to me anyway, and they say, you look pretty good.
Right.
And they're full of crap. It's not true.
No, that's what I said. I wear the black shirt thinking I was hiding my belly.
Yeah.
And, I just look like an 8-ball, and nobody will tell you, Jeff, you're just fat.
Well, the truth is I've got way too many sweaters, and that's the reason why. And it's not because I'm old. It's not because I love Mr. Rogers, and it's not because I'm cold all the time. It's because I put a dress shirt on and the buttons are a little stretched.
Yes.
But if you throw a sweater over the top, you're still okay.
Yes.
And anyway, it's just a fascinating change, and I'm sick of it, and it's not going to happen anymore. So
that's great. Well, let's wrap this up. You got one more, if you could throw out one nugget of wisdom for everybody, what would that be?
We talked about this a little bit before on a different conversation. I think we overload in our brains that everything has to start on the first of the week or the first of the month or whatever. The largest gym usage at Vasa, where I go down the street sometimes, is on Mondays. And then it trickles on Tuesday and then Wednesday. And then by Friday, nobody's in there.
Yeah.
And then the biggest week of the year is the first 2 weeks of January.
Yep.
And by the third and fourth and fifth week of the year, nobody's in there. And the mind shift there is you can only start on a Monday and you can only start on the first day of the month.
Right.
And what's happened for me is, okay, so I worked out Monday and then I didn't have a good Tuesday. So do I chuck the whole thing and start over on the next Monday? Or do I just chalk it up to you had a bad day and you move on and you do Wednesday and you do Thursday? And I read an article about a woman who lost like 400 pounds. And somebody said, what was the biggest key? And she said, I screwed up all the time, but I didn't put 2 bad meals in a row.
Yeah.
Or I screwed up all the time, but I never let 3 days in a row go without working out. Like if I miss 2, then by gosh, I got to work out on the 3rd day. And I think there's a shift there that says, okay, so we're busy. Things aren't perfect. I get a bad meal. I miss a workout. I slept too long today. Don't let that wreck the next meal.
Right.
Don't let that make you decide not to do Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever it is. And I've had to do that because I've started exercise programs that are 60-day programs, and you get into day 6 and you miss 7 and 8. And then you're like, oh, well then I guess I got to start over at 1. No, you don't. Just forget those 2 days and do the 9th day and then the 10th day. And then you'll miss the 11th and then do the 12th. And what's amazing about that mind shift for me is you give yourself a little mercy, but then you put the past behind you and just take the next step. And I used to always have to start over.
Yeah.
And it's not about starting over. It's about keeping going.
Yes.
And that's been a powerful lesson for me. And I don't know kind of where it came from, but it all coincided with starting this program is, okay, so you didn't track yesterday, then track today.
Right.
You didn't work out yesterday, then get it in today, even if it's 9 o'clock at night. You had a bad meal, put it in the tracker, own it, and then have a better meal on the next meal. And I think with those incremental kind of step-by-step process, I told Tyson this. So what if it takes 7 months? What if it takes 18 months?
Yep.
You're better off than you were if you didn't do it. And that's I think that's a powerful lesson. So thank you guys for that. And it's that personal accountability to say, I'm not going to have 2 bad in a row. I play a lot of golf. The worst thing you can do in golf, the worst thing you can do is hit 2 bad shots in a row and then really shank that third one, because now you're in deep trouble.
Yeah.
But you know what? Even Tiger and everybody else, they'll hit bad shots.
Yeah.
Just don't follow up a bad shot with another bad shot, and you're going to be fine. Don't follow up a bad meal with another bad meal. Don't miss a workout and then have 2 or 3 days string together in a row. And that's really what I did for 20 years. And that's the biggest change, Jeffrey. So.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. That's definitely an inspiration to other guys in the group. And I hope everybody takes that to heart, because it's all about consistency and sticking to it. This isn't hard. This isn't rocket science. It's nutrition and activity. And we all do it every single day. We just got to put it together with the right mindset. So, man, thanks for being with us tonight. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy, and we just look forward to keeping you in the program and watching you hit your goals, man. So
my pleasure. Thanks for all your help. I appreciate it.
No problem. We'll talk to you later.
You bet.